Chaos Theory is a group of musicians and composers who have gotten together to create music in a unique way that is contrary to a lot of the ways that music is created today. Basically, it's a freestyle music that's created by musicians who are masters on their instruments.
Well, Chaos Theory is a strictly an improvisational band. We're still evolving, and we've been doing this now for I'm going to say 4 years. I think it's 4 years, and it's strictly improvisational. So when we say we're a jam band, I'm not talking about a jam band like Phish or Grateful Dead or something like that. I'm talking about total improvisational jam. There are no compositions when we come into a recording session or a gig. We make them up right there on the spot. And I don't know anybody else doing that. I mean, there might be people out there doing it, but I don't know who they are, and I don't know where they are.
Where it's going to go, I don't have a clue. Where I want it to go, I want to keep doing it. It's become an addiction. There's something about playing with this group that's really compelling, that makes me be able to release as a musician, as an artist, a side of myself that I never knew existed. And I hear that same coming from all the other members of the band. They're touching a side of their creativity that they'd never experienced before. And it's very, very deep. We don't rehearse, we don't write out charts, we don't plan anything, we don't talk about tempos, keys, or style, unless a situation happens recently where there's a project we were doing that had to be part of a certain style. And what happens when we do try and control our process is it doesn't work. The music comes out sounding uninteresting, ordinary, definitely not like us. But when we just let go, there's special things that happen. There's special energies that happen between the musicians and the ensemble. There's a flow that gets created. And when we are not forced, that flow happens on its own.
Okay, so with Chaos Theory, you know, it's about, because it's so strictly improvisational, it's really, I mean, you're putting your soul on the line every time you play. Now, the way that I approach music is I feel like I'm putting my soul on the line every time I play anyway. I mean, I don't care if I'm playing somebody else's music on a recording session or I'm playing Chaos Theory, which is totally our music at that moment. You know, that's how I approach music. I don't know how to do it any other way. So to play written music, you know, whether it's orchestral or 21st century now, or a pop record or a film score or a TV recording session or a jingle or, you know, whatever, I approach it all the same way. I mean, I only know how to do it one way, which is like, yeah, I'll come in and read your chart down, and I'm going to play it as best as I can play it. And hopefully that's perfect for you. I mean, it generally is, with today's modern recording techniques, you can make it perfect in one way or the other. But hopefully that won't be super involved to make it perfect, because I'm going to play what you wrote. There's that, but it's more an issue of, it's not just you're reading a bunch of notes on the page. It's like the music is what it is. And a lot of music you might play, you just can't identify with it, I don't have that experience too often. I have had it, I'll say. But I could maybe only think of a handful of times where that's happened. Generally, there's something in that music that's going to touch me, that I'm going to feel like I can bring to life. Even if it's just regurgitating what a composer wrote and what's on the page, they have a reason. They want it to sound a particular way, and that's your job, is to bring it to life that way. Now, conversely, playing in a band like Kaosz Theory is bringing something that's never been created until that moment to life. And it's only different, and the only difference is that it exists. I mean, if you want to get all metaphysical about it or something, it exists in the cosmos. It's there. You're just pulling it in and making it real now. You got to get your ego out of what you do. And in a band like Kaosz Theory, there's no room when you're improvising like that. There's no room for ego. I'm not saying it's easy to do, and I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm certainly not saying we're perfect at it. And I would even venture to say I think we've been successful at it to date. But that's questionable, I guess, too. But that's the goal. The goal is to approach that so that it's almost Zen in a sense. It's like you're listening, violin, keyboards, and the DJ, and a singer, and now a free rapper. So now we have 2 other members of the band. So there was the original core, and the DJ tends to come and go. So we float on the DJ thing. And now we have another core member who is Kent, or Loch Ness, who is the free, what the world likes to call freestyle rapping, but Kent's heavier than that, and Kent's deeper than that. He's amazing. And so, as we all get to work together and get to know each other a lot more, we start seeing how heavy everybody, and it's really a trip in that sense.
Yes, we perform live, which is really bold, to be able to walk on stage without having anything prepared, no rehearsal, no nothing. What are you going to do? And we always laugh and tell the audience, you can go home and tell your friends, when they say, how was the band? Wow, they had no idea what they were doing. And that's our thing. We have no idea what we're doing, what we're going to do. But when it starts to happen, all of us start focusing in on whatever idea or theme, and it's interesting how it happens. Someone could be warming up on something, on their instrument, getting their sound and playing an idea. Another musician could hear that and start expanding on it. And another couple of musicians could hear that and start working on this whole theme together. And the first person who started it will catch on and jump in, not even aware that they started the whole thing. Kaosz Theory has been one of those things, this project from the beginning when it started happening, it has grown and grown and grown. And so many times along the way, I would say to myself, man, do you really want to put any more time into this? I mean, it's so off the beaten path. And something else would happen that would keep it going. So it has a life of its own. And my whole role is just serving whatever it is, because it just has its own life. It's like, it really is like a child, and keep feeding it and watching it grow, and then it starts doing its own thing. And as it develops, you start putting things in front of it so that it continue to grow and develop in the way that it's going. If a child is growing and has athletic promise, you start putting it in a position to to achieve its athletic potential. You know, if it's academic or science, you know, you start putting a child into situations like that. And so that's what I've done with this band. And there's the realization that there's certain things that won't necessarily work for us. There's certain places we can't perform in because they have certain expectations and certain controls that don't fit what we do. And also the people that have become part of it are people who we don't seek out. They just see it and decide they want to become part of it. At one point, I've never been comfortable mixing the band because it's not what I do. I'm a musician and I know that that's its own science. Bobby Brooks, world-renowned recorder and mixer, engineer, called me out of the blue one day. He heard about me through a friend and became very intrigued about what we're doing. And he said, well, you know, I'd like to check you guys out, you know, and if you need me for anything. And I went, whoa, Bobby Brooks? Oh, man, are you kidding me? And so I went to see him one day and I brought over some tracks that we had done. And he said, yeah, I'll work on it. And he did some phenomenal mixes. This was our first recordings with Kent. And so there's another instance where something happened to help keep the Kaosz Theory going. And I thought, okay, this has reached a stage. This was earlier this year, June 2012. And I'm thinking, I have to really start getting serious about where this is going because it's reaching a level where it deserves that. That's what's required. And I thought, okay, let me go talk to my friend Reese over at East West, you know. Maybe there's something, because we have all these tracks, maybe they'd be interested in developing it for their company or whatever. I don't know. But just push the ball down the hill and see where it goes. And it went where I did not expect it to go. But I didn't know where it was going to go, so that's okay. Reese listened and he thought, well, you know, I don't know about us being able to use the tracks. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, if you guys want, why don't you come over and record? Oh, okay. So we rounded up the troops and set up a recording session over at East West Studios, one of the top studios in the world. And Reese recorded us and it was a great night, very special night. And the music that came out of that night was really profound. Reese got to experience firsthand what it is. And it was another instance where something happened that has helped keep the Kaosz Theory going. Reese was very affected, impacted by what he heard and what he experienced. And he said, well, you know, if you want, give me a shot at mixing some of your stuff. And I said, well, you're on your own. You'll be unsupervised because that's how we flow, you know. And so I sent him one of the songs that we had recorded that night at his studio. Reese, in fact, the next day after our recording, I was talking to him. It was Reese. And he said, man, we went through all the trouble of setting the studio up for you guys, and then you were gone. You know, usually when bands book a studio, it's all day or all, you know, week. You know, they just take a whole block of time. And we had taken, you know, a 6-hour block that evening at East West, but really we were only there for maybe 4 hours, 4.5, and we recorded for maybe 2.5 hours. And we've come out with so much music. And the first track I sent to Reese, and he mixed it, and that was something else that happened that was very special and is helping the Kaosz Theory to continue. His touch on our music, he gets it. He doesn't try and take some preconceived idea of music or whatever. He serves the song. He serves the music. and he reaches into his toolbox and his imagination, and he adds things to it that makes it even more special, and also reveals his own talents and gifts as a mixer, where engineers oftentimes don't get an opportunity to do that. Their environment is very controlled, and there isn't any freedom to do your thing. He has that freedom to do his thing, but it's without ego, and he knows he's being trusted to enhance the music and not just go all over it and just go crazy, but he hears things and he feels things. And those things and ideas that popped into his mind are sincere, with integrity, and he adds that to the music, and we hear it and we go, wow, okay, we love it, And so now we're at a stage now where we have this foundation, this machine, this music factory. Where are we going to go? How are we going to do this? How is the industry going to handle this? And the words of my good friend Stanley Clark have always been in the back of my head. Stanley has been very supportive of Kaosz Theory and what we are doing, and he's very intrigued by it. And what he said to me in the early days of our existence, he said, the music business is not set up for what you guys do. And he said something to the effect of, we're going to have to teach the music industry how to think about us. And that's what we've set out to do. We're not just going to sit and allow you to try and control us or send us a certain direction. We have to let you experience it and teach you what this is, because there's been nothing like this before, and you can't take your own preconceived conceptions and apply it to this, because it does not apply. As intelligent and as experienced and as brilliant as you might be and as intuitive as you might be, this is something different. And you have to learn what it is first, and then all your essence can come out and apply to it. Let the light bulb come on at that point, but not before you have an understanding of what it is. And so we've set out to teach the industry what it is. And we're going about it through a different way. We're going a different path, so hopefully everything will work out. We'll see.